Hi, everybody. Steve Scott here, and this is part two of my series on great books to read for Judo, Sambo, Jiu-Jitsu, martial arts people. So here we go. This will be about books about history, the historical Japanese, pretty much Japanese development of martial arts. Anyway, let's get to it. These are some of my favorite reads. My number one is A History of Judo by Sid Hoare. Great book. Sid Hoare was a British Olympian in 1964. He is a judo master, and he trained in Japan extensively, speaks the language fluently. This is one of his books, A History of Judo. I think he's got another one, A Slow Boat to Yokohama. In any event, this might be out of print. That right now I do not know if it is out of print, but if you do see a copy, buy it. It is one of the best histories of judo in the English language. So there you go, A History of Judo by Sid Hoare. Great book. I highly recommend it. Another really good book, I mean, I put up there as we use the word great as well, Saving Japan's Martial Arts by Christopher M. Clark. Great book. Really, really informative book. A lot of information about the development of Kodokan Judo, as well as how it developed from the feudal Japanese systems of Jiu-Jitsu. Very well researched, a good read, really well written. So I would highly recommend this if you're a geek on history like I am. Saving Japan's Martial Arts by Christopher Clark. Great book. By the way, I get no money for endorsing any of these books or anything. I just think they're great, and they're certainly in my library, and I hope you can put them in your library and read them as well. Another good book that I really well recommended is by Brian Watson, Judo Memoirs of Jigoro Kano. It is obviously it's the memoirs that Kano wrote, and Mr. Watson has published and added some of his own stuff too. A good book, highly readable. And I really recommend it if you're a judo history buff like I am. Another book that is along the same line by John Stevens, A Portrait of Jigoro Kano and his students, The Way of Judo. This is a very interesting book as well. It like it says, it is a portrait of Jigoro Kano and his primary students in the early days of the Kodokan and how it developed. And it's a very good read. Very good resource material, as all these are. So I highly recommend it, The Way of Judo by John Stevens. Great book. Another one is by Serge Moll, Classical Fighting Arts of Japan, A Complete Guide to Koryu Jujitsu. This is really a good, well-researched book, and I don't know if it's still in print. I hope it is. But it is a good reference material. If you are looking for a lot of the seemingly obscure systems of the feudal Japanese martial arts, the Jiu-Jitsu systems, this is your go-to book. It's a great book, well-researched again by Serge Moll, Classical Fighting Arts of Japan. Highly recommend it. All right, last and certainly not least, in fact, the foremost, I saved the best for last actually, is my favorite author, Don Draeger. His book, in this particular case, Modern Bujitsu and Budo. It's part of a 3-volume series, Martial Arts and Ways of Japan, published by Weatherhill. He's got a number of books out. Anything you see on the market by Don Draeger, buy it. He has written numerous books on judo, the history of martial arts, the history of judo, like I said, judo, when I say judo techniques and various forms of it, various books about judo. He also was a great researcher in all Asian martial arts, Indonesian martial arts. He even has a book on ninjutsu, which is the Japanese, this stealth art thing. But they're all worth having. They're great books, and he's a very engaging writer. And he's passed on quite a number of years ago. He's one of the guys that I wish I'd have met and never did. And he's every time I open one of his books, I find new stuff to read. So, great book, Modern Bujitsu and Budo. Anything by Don Draeger, certainly get. Again, there are a lot of other great books out there. A lot of books on history and the not just judo, but jiu-jitsu, of all the martial arts, and certainly the fighting, the striking arts as well, and aikido, other things like that as well. These are just some of my favorites that I highly recommend. And again, if you're not a reader, become one. It really, if you're serious in the martial arts, it really will open up a whole new world. As I've often said, this medium here, the video, is wonderful, but it doesn't take the place of reading a good book and engaging with that author and really getting into what he has to say on those pages. So I really highly recommend reading. And these are great books for history. So there you go. Thanks for watching.